In the headlines, traditional ruler in Ogun State is killed and set ablaze by hoodlums. Kano State Governor says he will not wait a second to sign death warrant of killers of little Hanifa Abubakar. Government plans to make provision for fuel subsidy in 2022 budget. And on the foreign scene, NATO sends reinforcements to Eastern Europe amid Russia tensions. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Some suspected hoodlums on Monday attacked and killed a traditional ruler in Ogun State. Confirming the incident, the sister of the late monarch, Adenike Akintade, said her younger brother was recently killed in the same manner. According to Premium Times, the killing was a second attack on the Otedola family in less than 3 months. Residents of the community who do not want to be named for security reasons says the only possible case of the attack is the crisis bedeviling the deceased monarch's throne. It was gathered that the tussle of who becomes the next Olu of Agudo is between the Ake and Owu dynasty in the village. Kano State Governor Abdullahi Ganduje says he will not hesitate to sign the death warrant of Abdul Malik Tanko if brought before him. Tanko, the proprietor of Noble Kids Academy in Nasarawa local government area of Kano State, had confessed to killing 5-year-old Hanifa Abubakar, a pupil he abducted in December. The governor promised to abide by the constitutional provision to assent to the death sentence of Tanko if it is passed by the court. He made this known when he paid a condolence visit at the family's residence at Dakata. On the speed of the proceedings, he further encouraged that there will be speedy dispensation of justice. Meanwhile, the Association of Private School Owners of Nigeria in Kano State have reacted to the recent policy of the state government to revoke their licenses over the gruesome murder of Hanifa Abubakar by her school teacher. The National Vice President of the association, Mariam Magaji, speaks on Trust TV on Current Affairs program Daybreak.
I think this is not something new, but the prayer behind all this revoking of certificates is please let there be justice. Let government do justice for the screening. Let them appoint people who are competent and people who are trusted people by the government, so that whatever happens, nobody will go behind the committee and create a room for something else, so that they can issue certificate. Even the schools is not even due for certificate. I think the government should also look at the renewing of the certificate, because we know that in every 3 years we used to renew our certificate and we paid. So with this incident that happens, because it's not from our side, so we are pleading on behalf of the proprietors that if government wants to renew all these certificates, for those that their certificate is expired and due for renewal, and also those that their certificate is yet to renew, we are pleading with the government to look at the situation and the conditions of Nigeria, so that they should waive the money for renewing of certificate. I think if they can do that, more especially to the proprietors, they will find a soft landing to that, because all we know is that proprietors of private schools and government and also parents, we are all partners in progress.
Chief Magistrate Court 1, Gusau, Justice Garba Saadu, has sentenced 46-year-old Chukwuka Jude to 6 months imprisonment on the first count charge, with the option of fine of 50,000 naira and 1 year imprisonment without option of fine. Justice Saadu Garba sentenced the accused person following arrest of the suspected fake lawyer. He pleaded guilty to the charges and asked the court to show mercy and leniency by considering the option of fine on him. The report.
Police in Zamfara State charged the fake lawyer, Chukwuka Jude, Aminu Baba and 4 others to Chief Magistrate Court 1 Gusau for prosecution. Aminu Baba, the 57-year-old who was arrested for cannibalism and dealing in human parts with 4 other persons, and Chukwuka Jude, 46-year-old, arrested for parading himself as a lawyer at the higher Sharia court Tudunwada in Gusau metropolis. Jude cried out that remanding him to a correctional facility will put his family under serious difficulties as he is the only breadwinner. The suspected fake lawyer Chukwuka Jude, 46-year-old, claimed that he had lost everything, including his business, to 2 fire incidents and has 7 children and 4 are minors, while the 3 have no gainful employment, which they can support the family to survive the hardship it is facing. Counsel to the suspected fake lawyer, Joseph Eze, said his client is arraigned in court on 2 counts charges of impersonation and cheating.
Yes, my client, the convict, Chukwuka Jude, personated a legal practitioner. That is to say, he claimed to be a legal practitioner, and indeed tried to practice in a court, the Sharia court here, when he was discovered, or rather caught, by one of our colleagues. And he was investigated and found not to be a lawyer as he claimed. Today, that happened on the 18th of this month, 18th of January 2022. Today, he's been arraigned, and there was summary trial because he admitted the content of the FIR. There are 2 counts. One of personating a lawyer. The other is cheating by personation.
Meanwhile, 5 suspects who were arraigned at the Zamfara State's Chief Magistrate Court by the Nigeria Police on 3 counts charges bordering on criminal conspiracy, culpable homicide, and cannibalism offences, which are contrary to sections 97, 222, and 218 of the Penal Code law. The presiding judge, Justice Saadu Garba, directed that the second and third suspects, who are below 18 years, Abdullahi Buba, 17, and Ahmed Tukur, 14 years old, to be remanded to a remand home, while the first, Abdul Shakur Tukur, fourth, Aminu Baba, and fifth, Noura Usman, were remanded to correctional centers. The matter has been adjourned to February the 3rd, 2022, pending the conclusion of the police investigation. The police public relations officer, Superintendent Muhammad Shehu, spoke on the rationale of the prompt arraignment of the 6 suspects at the Magistrate Court 1 in Gusau, the Zamfara state capital.
No, we told you he confessed to have contracted this boy for 3 times. So meaning that this is not the first time he has been committing this crime. It means he has been in this act for some time. Are you getting me? Since he did it for the first time, the second time, and the 3rd time, he was finally arrested. We have been charging them to court. We, the police, as a law enforcement agency, and also a lead security in internal security, we cannot compromise whatever that would breach the peace and the tranquility of this country. So we have been charging all the suspects that we have been arresting for heinous crime to court. But this is part of the strategy to keep members of the public well informed on the activities of the police and the outcome of our activities. So, inshallah, we will keep on doing this to ensure that the members of the public are well informed on the outcome of whatever we are doing, as we have been doing for the press briefing, to call members of the press and brief them on the successes achieved.
The police were asked about the suspected bandits and their collaborators, whether they had been charged to court for prosecution. The police image maker in the state, Superintendent Mohammed Shehu, said police had charged all the suspects to court for prosecution.
Lagos State Government on Tuesday suspended the National Union of Road Transport Workers (NURTW) activities at Eyin-Eyo, Church Street and Idumota Bridge in Lagos Island indefinitely. The Special Advisor to the Governor on Transportation, Oluwatoyin Fayinka, announced this suspension at a stakeholders meeting which held at Alausa, Ikeja, to address the crisis often caused by activities of transport union members. He explained that the indefinite suspension became necessary following violence in those areas and to prevent further acts of violence, stating that the Rapid Response Squad has been directed to deploy armored personnel carrier on Idomota Bridge, as well as enforce the suspension of the NURTW within the axis and simultaneously flush out the Oju Opake boys lurking along plaza around Church Street axis. The suspension of the activities of the transport union at Church Street and John Street, particularly Keke Marwa and minibuses. President Muhammadu Buhari has launched the national policy on fifth-generation 5G technology for Nigeria's digital economy. The president, speaking at the presentation of the national policy on 5G, approved at the Federal Executive Council meeting, also directed all security institutions to immediately leverage the new technology to enhance security in the country. He said federal government will take full advantage of the opportunities provided by 5G for the economy, security and well-being of the nation. President Buhari also allayed fears of the 5G health safety, affirming that such issues have been effectively addressed in developing a policy that suits the country. Also, the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Isa Pantami, highlights on some of the benefits of the technology.
Direct all the security institutions to immediately leverage 5G when deployed in order to beef up security in the country. The national 5G policy includes a deployment plan to ensure that major cities across the country benefit from the technologies. It also seeks to make 5G a major driver of our economy, a catalyst for smart cities in the country, and a platform for creation of jobs that support our digital economy.
When it comes to the priority of this administration on security, 5G deployment could be the biggest revolution for our security institutions to make their work more effective. For example, Your Excellency, sir, disruptive technologies are the fourth industrial revolution, and all of them leverage on 5G for effective usage, like emerging technologies, like artificial intelligence, robotics, augmented reality, virtual reality, quantum computing, big data analytics. All of them are part and parcel of the fourth industrial revolution, and all of them leverage on 5G, in which 5G is also part and parcel of the fourth industrial revolution. These technologies, when they are deployed by our security institutions, they will allow them to communicate on real time. And secondly, it will allow them to perform some security operations virtually without being there physically, like using virtual reality, using robotics, in which a machine that is connected to 5G will be directed to go and do an operation and come back without exposing personalities to the challenge physically.
The National Assembly has passed the harmonized version of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill to include provisions which clearly define the mode of primaries for political parties. Consensus mode of primaries is one of the three options introduced in the re-amended Electoral Act Amendment Bill, which the Senate passed on January 19th. The report.
While the House passed the mode of primaries to include direct and indirect only, the Senate passed the direct, indirect, and the consensus mode of primaries. Presiding over a plenary, the Senate President Ahmed Lawal said both chambers have agreed to give a clear and sufficient definition for each mode of primaries and how they will be conducted. Consequently, a clear definition of how a consensus candidate will emerge is contained in the harmonized version.
We will recall that the Senate and the House passed the Electoral Act Amendment Bill with slight difference. While the House passed the mode of primaries to be direct and indirect only, the Senate passed the mode of primaries to be direct, indirect, and consensus. What we have done is to give very clear and sufficient definition to each mode of primaries.
The harmonized version, passed by both chambers during Tuesday's plenary, is the final agreed version on the amendment to Clause 84 of the Electoral Bill. All things being equal, the Electoral Bill is now to be forwarded to President Muhammadu Buhari for assent into law.
You're watching Trust TV News Update. Coming up after the break. How Nigeria drops rank in 2021 Transparency International Corruption Perception Index. Do stay with us.
Coronavirus disease, COVID-19, is an infectious disease caused by SARS-CoV-2 virus. Most people who fall sick with COVID-19 will experience mild to moderate symptoms and recover without special treatment. However, some will become seriously ill and require medical attention. The virus can spread from an infected person's mouth or nose in small liquid particles when they cough, sneeze, speak, sing, or breathe. These particles range from larger respiratory droplets to smaller aerosols. You can be infected by breathing in the virus if you're near someone who has COVID-19 or by touching a contaminated surface and then touching your eyes, nose, or mouth. The virus spreads more easily indoors and in crowded settings. Maintain a safe distance from others at least 2 meters even if they don't appear to be sick. Wear a mask in public, especially indoors or when physical distancing is not possible. Clean your hands often. Use soap and water or an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Cover your nose and mouth with your bent elbow or a tissue when you cough or sneeze. Stay home if you feel unwell. Get vaccinated. Properly fitted masks can help prevent the spread of the virus from the person wearing the mask to others. Masks alone do not protect against COVID-19 and should be combined with physical distancing and hand hygiene. Protect yourself and others around you by knowing the facts and taking appropriate precautions. Follow advice provided by your local health authority. This message is brought to you by Trust TV.
Welcome back. You're still watching Trust TV News Update. Now let's take a look at some of our top stories. Bandits have killed one person and abducted 15 others in Batagari village, Maikujiri district of Rafi local government area of Niger State. And the National Assembly has passed the harmonized version of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill to include provisions which clearly define the mode of primaries for political parties. And moving on to other stories now, the United States of America has assured of its readiness to partner with Kwara State government in ensuring that 50% of residents in the state are vaccinated against COVID-19 soon. The Director, Immunization of United States Center for Disease Control and Prevention, Bolu Omutayo, gave the assurance while on a courtesy visit to the Deputy Governor of the state in his office in Ilorin. The report.
The team from the United States Center for Disease Control and Prevention is in Kwara State to seek for more collaboration with the Kwara State government to ensure that more people are vaccinated against COVID-19 soonest. The State Executive Secretary of the Primary Health Care Development Agency, while introducing the team, informed the Deputy Governor of the readiness of the team to partner with the state to ensure the vaccination of majority of residents in the state to 50% soon. The leader of the team, Bolu Omotayo, says the determination of the state out of the 12 states selected made it to be chosen for the present exercise.
Center for Disease Control, of which through their office, the AFINET, they have set up an office in Kwara State as one of our partners alongside WHO and UNICEF to support not just our routine immunization, but also in terms of surveillance activities, because they have deployed 8 NSLOs that support the states in surveillance activity in the last 2 years, and they are quite critical in our drive to keep polio at 0 in the state, which is in line with the mandate of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kwara State, in their revolution within the health sector.
I come with the blessings of the U.S. Ambassador, and in fact, she has a letter. I believe we sent a copy before, and I have the hard copy that I'll present to you, just reflecting again on our desire and our support to Kwara State. We know Kwara State is one of those states that when you want to do something, you move and you make a difference. So like the SPHCDA permanent Executive Secretary mentioned, out of the 12 states where US CDC funds in terms of immunization, we've selected 2 states to start up and to enforce and increase our support, and that was Kwara State as well as Adamawa.
The representative of the United States Agency for International Development is full of appreciation to the state government in its efforts to eradicate polio and also reduce spread of COVID-19 through vaccination.
And we thank you very much for your support of those projects. They're very much in line with supporting our HIV, AIDS, and tuberculosis portfolio, which has been very prevalent here in the state. But in addition, we're also leveraging that supply chain and logistics support to be able to support the COVID-19 vaccinations here in Kwara State. And as a part of that, we thank you very much for your support in allowing us to work with you to make sure that the population here in Kwara has the opportunity to get vaccinations.
The state deputy governor assured of the readiness of the state government and asked for more support to create and improve awareness on the people.
I have so much confidence in the team here. I'm the chairman of, by the grace of God, chairman of COVID, chairman of polio too. I hardly get involved because I know she's fantastic with Dr. Gutoye. They are very confident, they know their job, they're professional. So I don't need to check on them every time. I know they're doing a good job and they're very professional. So I can assure you 100% that you have a great team that will support you and will support you to succeed. We thank you for coming to us here in Kwara State to help us with the vaccination.
The team requested the state government to provide more workforce to assist the team in its efforts to spread the awareness of the need to be vaccinated against COVID-19 and be immunized for polio across the state.
Nigeria ranks 154th in the 2021 Transparency International Index. The country drops 5 places as it scores 24 out of 100 points to rank 154th in the 2021 Transparency International Corruption Perception Index, indicating a decrease of 5 points compared to last year's ranking. The figures were released at the World News Conference in Abuja, Nigeria's capital. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman now reports.
In line with the tradition of deploying various methodologies, this year's Transparency International ranking focuses on public sector corruption enabled by bribery, official extortion, public corruption, nepotism, amongst other indicators.
The Corruption Perception Index aggregates data from 8 different sources that provide perception by country experts and business people on the level of corruption in the public sector.
Speaking on this year's findings, Executive Director Sislak Awal Rafsanjani says the anti-corruption war must be given the priority it deserves as it undermines the image and integrity of the country, fuel anti-social behaviors, and should change ordinary Nigerians.
As we have seen clearly, corruption in Nigeria has helped to underdeveloped Nigeria. It has also helped expose Nigerians to a serious security risks and danger. It has also helped to make life miserable and totally unaffordable to ordinary Nigerians.
Other stakeholders in the anti-corruption network added their voices at the conference.
It speaks of the damning audit reports and that the non-compliance and internal control weaknesses issues in the ministries, departments, and agencies, MDA's report
The failure to investigate high-profile corruption cases and prevent illicit financial flows, IFFs, in the country.
Absence of asset recovery, protection of whistleblowers, and other key anti-corruption legal frameworks.
There have been reports of diversion of funds embarked for Nigeria's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Yet, Nigerians are yet to see any high-profile conviction.
The relevant anti-graft agencies should investigate allegations of corruption by politically exposed persons, irrespective of political party affiliations.
The anti-corruption watchdogs, while appreciating some government anti-corruption agencies for their untiring efforts in stamping corruption, also call on the authorities to see the report as a call to action in decisively tackling the nation's #1 enemy, corruption. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Federal government says it is proposing to extend the subsidy removal implementation period by another 18 months. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Dimitri Silva, stated this to State House correspondents on Tuesday during a special briefing on fuel subsidy organized by the Presidential Communication Team at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. According to him, the extension will give all stakeholders time to ensure the implementation is carried out adequately.
Has, following engagements with stakeholders, agreed to an extension of the statutory period for the implementation of the removal of subsidy on petroleum premium motor spirit, PMS, in line with the existing laws. The new Petroleum Industry Act provides for the unrestricted market pricing for PMS from the effective date. However, the PIA also envisaged the potential for supply disruption.
And on the foreign scene, the United Nations says at least 32 people, including children, have been killed during armed raids in South Sudan's eastern Jonglei state. The attacks on Dongrut and Machine villages sent civilians from the Dinkabo community fleeing as armed youths from the Murle ethnic group opened fire and torched property. UN mission in South Sudan said in a statement on Tuesday the 3 children are among those who drowned in a river while trying to escape. And that wraps up News Update for this hour. Don't forget, you can subscribe and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for watching.